Hi all, myself Professor Disha Shukla and I am conducting the subject wireless communication. My today's topic is S by I ratio, that is signal to interference ratio, its consideration and its calculation. So what do you mean by signal to noise ratio? But before that, what do you mean by interference? So interference is a major limiting factor in the performance of a cellular radio system. Whenever we design a particular cellular radio system, there are different factors that affect it. Some of them help in increasing its performance while others limit its performance. So interference is a factor that is limiting factor in the performance of a cellular radio system. There are different sources or the reasons due to which the interference occur. The first one being another mobile in the same cell. So there are different cells that are allocated the same frequency band. So there will be different mobile users in the same frequency band, and due to that the interference can occur. The other reason is a call in progress in the neighboring cell. There can be a call that is working or is in progress in a neighboring cell. The cells that are located or adjacent to each other are called the neighboring cells. So if there is a call in a neighboring cell, it can also cause an interference. Other base station that is operating in the same frequency band, that is there are lots of base stations that are allocated in the different cells, and all of them can be, and some of them can be allocated the same frequency band because of the concept of frequency reuse that we have already seen in the previous chapter. So whenever the particular base station is using the same frequency band, it is possible that the interference can occur. Or any non-cellular system which inadvertently leaks the energy into the cellular frequency band. That is, what are the different non-cellular systems? Non-cellular systems means the huge buildings that we have, the trees that we have. What actually happens is, whenever a signal is transmitted from a particular transmission channel, there can be a possibility that they may be distracted or scattered when they collide with this huge buildings or trees, and due to that the energy may leak into the frequency band. So that is also a reason or a possibility due to which an interference can occur. So these are some of the reasons or the sources of interference: another mobile in the same cell, a call in progress in a neighboring cell, another base station operating in the same frequency band, or any non-cellular system which advertently leaks the energy into the cellular frequency band. The two major types of system generated interference are co-channel interference and adjacent channel interference. This we have already discussed in the previous lecture. Now, what are the co-channel cells and what are the adjacent channel cells? So these cells that are colored into violet color or the purple color are called the co-channel cells. Why are they called the co-channel cells? They are transmitting at the same frequency with reference to the center cell. That is, all of them are transmitting the data in the same frequency band. So they are called the co-channel cells. Whereas the cells that are placed beside this cell, this particular cell in the center, are called the adjacent cell because they share the same boundary. So those are called the adjacent cells. Now, the interference that is created due to the co-channel cells is called the co-channel interference, and the interference that is created by the adjacent cell is called the adjacent channel interference. Now, what do you mean by Q? Q was the co-channel reuse ratio. That is, at what distance can we create a particular co-channel so that we can reuse the particular frequency band. So as the value of Q is smaller, it provides a larger capacity because the cluster size of N, the cluster size of the particular the cluster size of the cells is N is small, and when a larger value of Q is allocated, a higher transmission quality can be applied. So a trade-off must be made between these two objectives. Which two objectives? The size of the cluster and the reuse ratio, the co-channel reuse ratio. So this is how they are divided. Like whenever you have a cluster size of 3 and I and j is equal to 1 and 1, so I and j were the two parameters through which we were deciding where to place the next co-channel. The I is something that is in the same line, and J is a cell that is at a 60 degree from the ith cell. So this is how the cluster size n and co-channel reuse ratio are associated with each other. Moving on, signal to interference ratio. It is also called SIR or S by R. The signal to interference ratio, also known as the carrier to interference ratio, that is CIR or C by R. It is the quotient between the average received modulated carrier power S or C and the average received co-channel interference power I. That is, the interference can occur due to the crosstalk from another transmitter that are using the same or signals. So what is actually C by I? C by I is the quotient, that is when we go and divide the two parameters. The two parameters are the S is what is S? The average received modulated carrier power. Whenever we transmit a signal, we said that we transmit it with using a carrier frequency. So the average received modulated carrier power divided by the average received co-channel interference power is called the signal to interference ratio or carrier to interference ratio, SIR or CIR. The CIR resembles to the carrier to noise ratio, that is CNR, which is the signal to noise ratio of a modulated signal before demodulation. So when you calculate the signal to noise ratio is the comparison of the signal strength with reference to the noise. So it is called the signal to noise ratio. So signal to noise ratio or say CIR, that is the carrier to interference ratio, it resembles to the carrier to noise ratio but for a modulated signal before modulation. A distinction among the CIR and the CNR is that the interfering radio transmitters contribute to I may be controlled by the radio resource management, while the N involves noise power from the other resources. Where we are considering the number of cells or the number of cells in a cluster N, so it will involve the noise power from other sources also. Whereas when we are only considering I, it can be controlled by the radio resource management. So typically N will be affected by additive wide Gaussian noise, that is AWGN. The signal to interference ratio for a mobile receiver which monitors a forward channel can be given by S upon summation of I, where I is equal to 1 to I is equal to 1 to I zeroth. S is the desired signal power from a desired base station. I is the interference power that is caused by the ith interfering co-channel cell base station, and I0 is the number of co-channels that are in the interfering cell. That is, when we calculate the summation, I, it is the interference power that is caused by the ith interfering co-channel cell, and we are calculating it for I is equal to 1 to I is equal to I0. So where I0 is the number of co-channels that are in the interfering cell, I mean the number of co-channel interfering cells that we have. So the co-channel cells for a 7-cell reuse can be illustrated as shown in the figure. So this is the illustration of the first tier of the co-channel cell of a cluster of n is equal to 7. Now an approximation of exact geometry is shown here, whereas the exact geometry is given when the mobile is in the cell boundary X, that is whenever the person who is using the mobile is over here in the cell boundary of X, it experiences a worst case co-channel interference on the forward channel. Now the marked distance between the mobile and the different co-channel cells are based on the approximation that are made for the easy analysis. Now from here, this is our R. R is the radius of the hexagon and D is the distance from the center hexagon to the co-channel hexagon. So here for this hexagon, the distance will be d. For this hexagon the distance will be d, but for this hexagon the distance will be d minus r, and for this one also it will be d minus r. But these cells are located away as with reference to this particular center cell and for this user x. So here the distance will be d plus r, and here also the distance will be d plus r. So basically d is what? D is the distance between the two centers of the co-channel cells, and r is the radius of the hexagon. So this is how the distance is calculated for a 7-cell reuse frequency band. Moving on, signal to interference ratio SIR is given by this, that we have already seen. Now assuming that the transmitting power of each base station is equal and the path loss exponent is same throughout the coverage area, we can say S upon I is equal to R raised to minus n upon di raised to minus n. That is the summation of di, where I is equal to 1 to I is equal to 0. I0 is the number of co-channels that are in the interfering cell, and SI is again the signal to interference ratio. That is, we have calculated the SI with reference to the radius of the hexagon and the distance between the two co-channels. So considering the first layer of the interfering cell, if all the interfering base stations are equidistant from a desired base station, say for example all the cells that we are calculating, all the co-channel cells, now all those co-channel cells are called the interfering cells, because we are calculating the signal to interference ratio over here. So all those interfering cells, we are assuming that they are at an equidistance from a desired base station. Then S upon I is given by d upon r raised to n upon I0, where I0 is the number of cells in the cluster to which, the number of the interfering cells, and that is again equal to under root of 3n, that is whole raised to n upon I0. Now for the case where the mobile unit is at a cell boundary in a 7-cell cluster, that is the worst case, the figure that we already saw, the similar situation. The distance from the co-channel interfering cells are approximated to d minus r, d and d plus r, as we already seen. Now assuming that n is equal to 4, we calculate the S upon I is equal to this way, that is r raised to minus 4 upon 2 into d minus r raised to minus 4 plus 2 upon 2 into d plus r raised to minus 4 plus 2d raised to minus 4. And so for the worst case scenario, with reference to Q, that is the co-channel interference, this equation can be further modified as S upon I is equal to 1 upon 2 into Q minus 1 raised to minus 4 plus 2 into Q plus 1 raised to minus 4 and plus 2 into Q raised to minus 4. So for n is equal to 7, that is where we have 7 number of cells, Q is calculated, that is equal to 4.58. How? From this equation, that is equal to d by r, and that is equal to under root of 3n. So for a worst case scenario, S upon I is equal to 49.56, that is 17 decibels. But if we use this particular equation for calculating S upon I, then SI is equal to 17.8 dB, that is decibels. So in a worst case scenario, the signal to interference ratio for a cluster size 7, it will be equal to 17 decibels, and for an average case it will be 17.8 decibel. Hence for a 7-cell cluster, the SI ratio is slightly less than 18 decibel in the worst case scenario. This is how the whole thing is calculated. This is how the signal to interference ratio is calculated. Signal to interference ratio is basically the difference or the division of the signal strength with reference to the interference that is calculated by the co-channel cells. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you.